On this episode of Brokers Open Podcast, we interview Brett Henry on how to close more real estate business internationally. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Brokers Open Podcast. I'm Dr. Ben Spears, the ambassador of Flow. I'm here with the big guy as usual, Matt Vi. How's it going, Matt?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, but I'm not singing today, Ben. I know you were about to ask me if I was going to sing or not. I'm not singing today.
Yes, I'm not even gonna lie. Before this call, Matt was like thinking about something. Like, la 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 la. Right? It wasn't that high, but I can't get that low. So, and that being said, I want to make sure we get our guest on here because as much as everybody wants to hear Matt sing, he's not going to do it. But I do know that everybody wants to hear what Brett Henry has to say. So let's go ahead and bring Brett on here. Let me introduce him really quick. Brett Henry is the president and founder of RealtorDR, a prominent real estate brokerage in the Dominican Republic. Originally from Canada, Brett moved to the Dominican Republic over 2 decades ago. With over 20 years of experience in real estate investing, Brett has owned various businesses. His deep understanding of both Canadian and Dominican laws enhances his ability to bridge cultural and real estate differences for his clients. Under Brett's leadership, RealtorDR has achieved significant milestones, including reaching $100 million in annual sales. Wow. While maintaining a boutique service approach. Brett, I hope that was good enough. I did my absolute best. How's it going, man?
It's going good. You did a fantastic job. I wish that the music came in. I miss Matt and his music.
Come on, Matt.
We'll
let Brett down.
Maybe I'll hum a little bit in between things that I'm saying.
Yeah, a little ditty from Matt about Jack and Diane. That's too funny. So, the Dominican Republic, man, I gotta ask, right? Because I'm in Florida, I'm always giving people a little bit of grief. Or I got some friends in Michigan. I'm like, hey, how cold is it up there? Right? Like, tell me, because I'm in Florida and you're the Dominican. What's the Dominican like right now? And then we'll get to all the good questions, but I want to know, like, should I come visit you next week or something?
I think, you know what, coming anytime is a good time. So like we're so close to the equator down here. We're a little bit further south than you. So we have a constant weather, right? Like today we're in the 80s. We're always in the 80s. You can basically set your watch. It's going to be, 80 to 90 every single day. It's going to rain for 1 hour at some point during the day. But the sun's always shining and people are happy, and it's just a really good place to be. We're not subject to a lot of the other rigmaroles that you guys got up there.
Yeah, I got you. Well, that being said, that's kind of like a perfect segue into a typical question that we always ask, which is we want to know your backstory, right? Everybody who's listening wants to know your backstory, and they want to know, how did you end up in the Dominican Republic? And so I'll let you start wherever you want to start, right? You were born,
Sure.
but you ended up there. So let us have it.
8 pounds, 11 ounces in November of, no. No, you know what? I started out in Canada. I was born in Saskatchewan, which is in the middle of Canada. You guys probably don't know where it is because, notorious geography classes from the Americans there that you guys don't know where that is. But anyway, we're just above Montana and North Dakota there. But where I come from, it's extremely cold. A week and a half ago, it was minus 57 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
So which is a little bit colder than you guys down in Florida. It's pretty hard to imagine the cold there. So quite a while ago, a buddy of mine, he got smart and he moved out of Canada, and he called me up one day and he goes, you know what, Brett, I moved down to the Dominican. I'm in a place called Cabarete, and it's really nice down here, and I'm thinking about buying a bar hotel on the beach. And I said, well, that's interesting. That's great. But I already had a bar hotel up in Canada, coffee shop. I had a print shop. I was doing a bunch of things up there. And he goes, well, it's too late. I bought it and I need some money. So I said, okay. So I lent him some money, decided, let's go see what it's all about. I came down to the Dominican. I own different types of properties, rental properties, construction companies and stuff up in Canada. I got down to the Dominican and I fell in love with the place. It was the land of opportunity. The only way I can describe it is it's 1972 down here, okay? And what I mean by that is all those rules and regulations and things that we're scared of, red light cameras, police on every corner getting tickets, tax to the nines, paying $10 for a pint of beer at the bar or whatever. All those things didn't exist down here. It was cheaper to live. It was a slower pace of life, which was really nice. The weather was really good. The people were extremely nice. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to make this my life down here. So right around 6 years ago, I started up a real estate brokerage called RealtorDR, which is my brokerage now. And the reason I started it up is because I found a gap in the market down here. Things weren't really being done to like a Canadian or an American standard. There was lots of, I don't know what you'd say, just disorganization. So we brought in a little bit more of an organized system to real estate down here in our local area, which resonated quite well with American and Canadian and expat buyers. And that's what we focus on. I mean, there's a lot of good Dominican buyers and things like that, but we really like to focus our sales efforts to everyone that lives on the eastern seaboard. So Toronto, Montreal, New York, down through Charlotte, down through Florida. And that's kind of where we're looking, and what we kind of focus on, and what we stress, or what our main goal is to try and help Canadians and Americans realize that there is other places to live. You don't have to live under all the pressures and stresses that we have in the United States and in Canada, whether that's political or financial, or for me, environmental due to weather and stuff like that. And you can live a really, really good life down here with everything that you've had from back home. So
Yeah, love that so much. I've got a couple of big questions, right? So one, I'm going to ask about security. So please don't let me forget, right? Because we talked about security whenever we first met, and
Yep.
you gave a great example, and were able to explain exactly why that's not an issue. But I want you to be able to share with everybody in just a second about that. But before we get into that, so tell me a little bit about the difference in real estate down there. What do you think is, if you had to say, okay, here's Canadian real estate, or here's North American real estate, and here's real estate in the Dominican Republic, what's kind of the big difference that a buyer could expect between the two of those, other than weather? Are the contracts easier to deal with? Are the sellers just easier to deal with? Is everything complicated? Is it, tell us what some of the differences are between the two.
You know what? No, it's a little bit easier down here. So as a Canadian or an American, you have the exact same rights as if you were born in the Dominican Republic when it comes to owning property and banking, which is extremely important. The Dominican government is very pro, they're pro for foreigners to come in. They want people that are coming here to retire. They want people to move here that are going to, add to the economy and add to like the way of life down here. So paperwork is a lot simpler down here. When it comes to like titles and actual securing your investment and stuff, it's very good down here. It's all done in an electronic form. It's not third world country. I know that a lot of people think Dominican Republic and they think third world country. It's not. We have, our Dislende, or our survey title system in 2007 went to GPS. Like, we don't have pins in the ground. Like, the way things are done in Canada and the US is actually kind of our care compared to here, right? We have, everything is done, like I said, electronically. It's saved electronically. Your lawyers have escrows. You own title down here. Like a lot of countries that you go to in the Caribbean, you don't own the title, or you get a 99-year lease. Here, you actually have title. It belongs to you. No one can take it from you. The government can't come in and steal it from you. Our taxes are a lot less. Our taxes are 1% on anything over $150,000 US. So if you buy something under $150,000 US, you're not paying taxes. If you're over 65 years old, I believe it is, you're not paying taxes. There's just so many benefits to buying down here. Yeah.
Yeah,
and the process is really smooth.
Yeah, that's really incredible. So so just start sending us the information, and Ben and I'll move down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds incredible.
I'm just gonna bring this.
100%.
I'm on my
That's all
way.
you need.
So let's get back to the security thing, Brett. Right. So you and I kind of talked about that just a little bit, and you've got some background in it. Tell us a little bit about what the security is like down there. Because whenever you and I talked about it, I said, hey, here's some of the things that, I've heard and all that kind of stuff and everything. And you're like, Matt, you're crazy. This is why it's this way. So tell us a little bit about that.
No, safety down here is it's very safe because you know what? People down here they live a different lifestyle than we're used to up in the States and in Canada. We're very capitalistic up there. The people that have always had, if they lose it, they want it back. And that's where we get into theft and we get into robberies and all that stuff down here. People down here live a different life. They're more communal, they're more family oriented. They're a little more just do well to your neighbor. More respect is acquired down here. The thing too is back in Canada and the United States, there's a lot of like food scarcity and things like that. And when you have that, people are always wanting to get ahead and hoard and do that type of stuff. We have 3 different growing seasons down here, so we're always producing more food. We have a good there's a lot of obviously seafood. We're on an island. But we're the largest landmass in the Caribbean next to Cuba. So we produce a lot of food. There's a lot, like our topography here is amazing. We have one of the largest peaks next to the Rocky Mountains, which is Pico Duarte. We can grow basically anything up in Pico Duarte. We have, coffee. When you start thinking about the exports, people don't think about this, but coffee, sugar, cacao, right? So chocolate, it all comes from here. Plantains, papayas, every fruit and vegetable you can possibly think of, we have down here. And because we have it and we have it in abundance, we don't seem to have the criminal element like you think of. Now, getting into why people think that, it's really easy. We have lots of tourists that come down here, 11 million tourists a year. The population on the island is 10 million. So we have more tourists that come here than actually live here in a yearly basis. And when you go to the big resorts, they're always telling you, be safe, stay in the resort. And that's kind of what spawns is it a safe place to be? And the reason they say that is, you might have a resort like, let's say the Hard Rock Resort, where there's 5,000 rooms or whatever there. So you're talking about, 10,000 people staying at the resort every day, turning over every 7 days. And you know what? There might be one incident a year, 2 incidents a year where something bad happens to someone, right? Like someone goes out, but most of the time it's because they caused the incident, right? They're the ones that went out there. So you think about what you do when you go to an all-inclusive. You're drinking, you're drinking, you're drinking, you're drinking. And then you go out into the public and you act like you act like a jerk or an asshole or whatever. And something happens to you. Well, that's not because the Dominican Republic isn't safe. It's because there was an idiot that came to the Dominican Republic and was an idiot.
Right.
So, yeah, in most cases, that's how it is. I mean, driving, on the other hand, driving down here is a little bit like Mario Kart, but once you get used to that, it's okay. But safety-wise, very safe for families, very safe for people, and most people here are out to help you out.
Yeah, I love that. And it's other cultures are so interesting, right? And so I love the analogy of you saying like it's kind of like 1970s down here. And so, only Matt knows what that's like. You have to tell me. You have to tell me what that's like, man. I don't know. I was born in the 80s, but
The best way to put it, Ben, it's like, remember the good old days? Remember the good old days?
yeah.
We lived the good old days.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, a cow's crossing the road. Okay, well, guess what? Traffic's waiting for the cow to cross the road. Like, depends where you are. I mean,
Yeah.
Santo Domingo's 6.5 million people. It's a major center, big malls, extremely smart people, good universities, things like that. On the North Coast, we're a little bit more laid back. I would consider it more like cabin country here. And that's just the way it's get it done, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that's super cool. I once waited 2.5 hours to drive like 100 feet in Yellowstone because of buffalo. So hopefully you guys don't have huge herds of buffalo going across.
yeah, I hope we have one buffalo.
Yeah, the town
We got
buffalo.
cows, though. We definitely got cows.
Yeah, I love that. So our audience is obviously real estate agents.
Yeah.
And they got to be intrigued by this, right? Like they're hearing all this good, they're hearing all this good stuff, and maybe they're like, hey, because I know a lot of agents who've told me this, and I'm sure Matt's heard the same. Like, Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing like some international type real estate and, and expanding my business a little bit. And so, for me, I just have the question, what advice would you give real estate agents, who are looking to expand, into, international market, particularly into markets like the Dominican Republic. But, if you have things of, okay, these are some tips if it would work in any other international market, I'm cool with that too. So, can you expand on that just a little bit for me?
No, absolutely. If there are real estate agents listening to this podcast, which is the is probably most of us there, we down here, like us on the North Coast, we love to co-broke outside of the country, especially real estate brokerages that are focused on American and North American buyers. When you find yourself in the States, wondering like where are these people going to go, what are they going to do, what am I, why would I even sell outside of my own area? Like a lot of real estate agents, you focus on your tiny little area and think that this is, the only thing I can do. Well, we in the North Coast where I am, okay, I can speak specifically to where I am. We average between 8 and 10% commissions here, and we co-broke at 50%. So if there's any agents out there that actually want to get into this, get a hold of me. I can show you how it's done. You can check out our stuff on the website. If you have clients that are interested, let's do it. And I'll tell you what the speech was that I gave. I went and talked to about 300 agents in Florida a couple of years ago, and it was about coming to the Dominican. Why would you send a client down here? What is the purpose of it? Anyone who's bought their first house between the ages of 20 and 40 are now between the ages of 40 and 60. If you live in any major center on the east coast of Canada or the United States, your home has multiplied to massive levels. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're a truck driver, a police officer, a fireman, any kind of blue collar worker. You may be living in a home now that may be valued in the millions. Okay. Might be $1 million, might be 2, might be 3 million. I know guys that had bought brownstones in New York for $280,000 to $400,000, and now they're $3 million. These people are, you're working on a pension, but you're living in these homes. And in order to buy the house next door, you're going to have to get a mortgage. Your pension probably isn't going to cover the mortgage, and you might be living in $1 million home, but you're not a millionaire. So the whole spiel is guess what? Release the funds out of that place. Okay, sell that home, get your $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. Come down to a place like the Dominican Republic, buy yourself an oceanfront condo or an oceanfront property for, $200,000 to $1 million. Let's just call it 500 for whatever sake. Take that extra $1 million, put it in the bank down here. The banks are extremely safe. It's backed by gold. Like we have gold standard here, right? But you put your money in the bank. You can get CDs and bonds at 13.6%. The banks are paying 10% on your money. Own your home, make $10,000 a month off your money and that's after taxes, and go visit back home. Go rent that really nice place. Go travel around the world, but make this your home base and be a real millionaire. If your pension is $5,000-6,000 a month and you're making $10,000 a month off of off the house or the money from your house, well, now you're making $10,000, $15,000, $16,000 a month, and you have no debt. You're living down here. The cost of living down here isn't free, but it's about 2/3 of what it costs to live back home, right? You can still get a coffee down here for $2 or less, and a good coffee. I mean, like a cappuccino or something like that. And a golf membership down here at our local golf course, which is a PGA rated Spanish tour golf course, is $500 a year. Like it's 500, and you golf all year long.
I'm on
There's
my
just
way.
I was going
yeah.
to say, you
Oh,
just got in. That was it. That was all it needed.
I'm sold, Matt.
but
Bye.
you're retiring, you're living in paradise, and you're making money.
Yeah.
That's how you sell it to if you're a real estate agent, and how would I even sell this to my clients? Because just like all the hassles that the real estate agents are getting in the States now with listing agents and the buyer's agents aren't getting paid and all this other stuff, step out of it a little bit, right? Step out and start taking a look at the grand scheme of things, because not only the Dominican, but there are other places around the Caribbean and around the world that real estate's still actually kind of fun to do. Because I know, because I've spoken to lots of realtors in the US, and the amount of things that handcuff you and how hard it is to do your job now, just because of some bureaucrat thinking they should get their hands in your pocket. It doesn't exist down here. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's killer. So I got one more question for you, and I know Ben said he had a couple of more questions for you. So here's so from a big picture standpoint, I'm a buyer that's getting ready to go down there. So I've got a great agent. The agent, hears me complaining that my pension needs to be stretched farther. I'm tired of the rat race, and I just want a slower lifestyle. And that agent does a great thing and says, you know what, you should go reach out to Brett. Brett's going to help us out. Now, as a buyer, I buy down there.
Yep.
What's some of the first things that I have to expect? How do I get my dresser down there? Right? Do I just have to buy one down there? Do I get it shipped down there? Tell me how all of those first kind of steps happen, right? How is it to, my passport and getting into the country, and how hard is that? And do I have to bring my car with me, or should I buy it there because the impact fees are too much? Tell us a little bit about that transition for somebody from being here to going there so that they can live that life that you're talking about.
Absolutely. You know what? Most homes, when you buy them down here, they come furnished. So most anything, unless you build a brand new home, right? But if you buy a house, it's coming furnished. As for your passport, you know what? You can become a resident down here quite easily. And if you become a resident, you're allowed to bring a 40-foot sea can, and you can fill it up with whatever you want. You can put your car in there. You can put, your personal items and stuff. Other people just kind of bring it as they come. They'll bring, 4 or 5 suitcases at a time and bring their personal items down here. That's one thing that people like to do. Buying a car, we have all the car dealerships down here. Yes, everyone thinks that this place has nothing. My business partner drives a Maserati. I have a Porsche. There's Lamborghini. You can buy a Lamborghini down here. There's Ford dealerships. There's everything is down here. So I recommend buying here on the island, because then you have, your warranty. You have a shop that you like to go to, just like you'd say if someone moved from here to the United States. What would you bring? Well, personally, I wouldn't want to bring a whole bunch of stuff. I'd want to get it there so I didn't have to haul a bunch of things, right? Yeah. Yeah, and I would just, come on down. Your passport is good. Like if you're here, you pay an exit fee after so many days. Like if you're here for over 30 days, you have a 3,000 peso exit fee. That's $50. When you're here over, I believe it's 90 days, then it goes to 4,000. I had a friend that was down here for 27 years. Okay, never had anything. Probably a little overdue stay. He had to go back. He had to go back to New York because of family issues and stuff like that. He had to pay $1,400 when he exited. That was his taxes. $1,400 for 27 years of living on the beach.
Right.
So, yeah, we live
Seems
a whole
fair.
different. We live a
Seems
whole
awfully
different.
fair.
Yeah, we live a whole different lifestyle. You got to think down here, everything is designed for the people that live here. It's not designed for us, right? Because sometimes we think, oh, well, it should be, it's this expensive back in the States, or it's this, that, and the other thing. No, things are designed for the Dominican people. So what we think is cheap sometimes isn't necessarily cheap for the local population. Like we can go to the dentist, and the dentists are fantastic down here because they're really top notch. And to get your teeth cleaned down here, it's 1,500 pesos, which is the equivalent of like $25 US for like a real professional dentist. My girlfriend had to get a post put in, like a fake tooth, $800. Back in England, it would have been about $5,000. Like these little things are,
A big difference.
they're huge. And you can get your health insurance down here. They have good hospitals down here. The doctor comes to you. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to wait in a waiting room. You can just call the doctor up. They'll come to your house. They'll check you out for $100. The amount you pay in insurance would cover more, like insurance in the States would cover more than your medical bills would ever be here. That being said, your, normal insurance down here is about $50 a month for good coverage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So
Yeah.
so let's say I'm a buyer, right? And this is going to help the agents who are listening. Let's say I'm a buyer and I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to explore this. But I'm not like, to a point where I'm just like, okay, like next week I can fly down to the Dominican and start doing showings and that kind of thing. But let's say they want to get an idea of like, okay, well, what's real estate like? Or if I see a property on, whatever platform, your website,
Yeah.
and they wanted to take a look at that, like what's that like? Do you do like virtual tours, or what's the process look like?
We can do virtual tours, we can do all that, but my recommendation to anyone who wants to move down here is absolutely do not buy sight unseen. Absolutely do not buy on a whim. Like, oh, wow, Brett was a good talker on that podcast. I think I should go down there and buy a place. Absolutely not. Okay. That is not what I'm trying to get across. What I would highly recommend is, you come down here, you rent an Airbnb, call me, call my team, I can set you up with that, but come down here and come and visit. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. Like, you come down here, you take a look around, feel it out, come for a week, come for 2 weeks, feel the area, because it's a big island. Everyone thinks like, I'm in the Dominican. Well, no, we have a city of 6 million people on this island. We have towns of 10,000 people. We got places on the beach. We got places in the mountains. Come down here, come visit, come explore, come feel it out, come meet with me in my office, or, I can give you names. It's not even, there's other great real estate agents down here too, but come down here and come feel it out a little bit, go back home, say, wow, we kind of liked it. Come back, stay a little longer, look at some properties and feel it out. It's a process, right? It's never just jump out of your shoes and dive into the deep end. Take your time and find what you want, because the goal of me selling a home down here isn't to see that I can sell the most homes as possible. It's me being able to get the right home for the people that do want to come down here, so that they enjoy it. Because if people come down here and enjoy where they are and enjoy what they feel, they're going to bring their friends and their family and everyone else down here, and they're going to enjoy it too. If it's a bad experience, that's the last thing we want or need down here, is someone having a bad experience. It obviously happens, but
yeah, I pulled up the map while you were talking and everything, and one of the first things that I see is just you were just mentioning it, how diverse it really is of an ecosystem, right? So it's pretty, it says it's 165 miles wide, basically at its widest point. But how diverse it is, it's everything, I guess, from rainforest to Caribbean Sea to mountains to all of that. That's just, so like you said, people can get everything they want, right?
Yeah, we got the deserts to the mountaintops to the surf beaches to the city, and people don't realize that. The nice thing about where we are, like where I am, I'm in an area called Cabarete in Sosua, so in the Puerto Plata area, and knock on wood, we haven't had a hurricane here for over 200 years. And that's, so there's your thing, Ben, about Florida. Like, we don't get them here because we have our mountains, right? The mountains break up the hurricanes, and the trade winds push the hurricanes away. And we just, for whatever reason, I mean, we get good rains and we get tropical rain showers and things like that, but we don't get the big hurricanes. Haven't seen one. I sit on the shore. We laugh. We sit there, and because at least 3 times a year, I'll have a family member call me and be like, "Oh my God, are you in the hurricane?" Because Puerto Rico would have got hit by something, right? And we're sitting there on the shore and we're watching it way out in the middle of the ocean, being like, "Yeah, no, the waves aren't even good today." Like it's unique.
Yeah, in Florida, we just ask, like, if hurricanes come, we just ask Matt to go stand outside.
Yeah.
Right, and like he stands outside, and it's like a mountain, and they just fly by. And so he saved Tampa for years, and he gets $1 off of his taxes each year for doing that. So we appreciate you, Matt. So I of course want to make sure that everybody knows how to get in touch with you, right? But before I do that, I got one more question, and I just kind of ask everybody this because, again, like I said, our audience is 99% real estate agents. Piece of advice, right? I'm an agent. I'm just getting into the business. Even trying to choose my niche, whether it's international, whether it's not international. What kind of piece of advice would you give a young aspiring agent and in the business to be successful?
Best piece of advice I could give any agent is this. It's, do the best thing you can for your clients. Make sure your clients are happy. Don't step over dollars to pick up dimes. What I mean by that is don't try and make the biggest commission because you're going to screw over someone, or just because you're going to get something. Do what's right for the client, and always do that, because it's not the deal you're working on, it's the 10 deals in front of you. If you do a good job with the deal you have in front of you, you're going to get more deals in the future. Your reputation, you get one time. You can make more money. If you're a good salesperson, you lose a sale because of ethics, because you did the right thing, that's fine. But if you do the wrong thing one time and you get caught and you get caught up on that, kiss your future goodbye. So just be ethical and do the right thing for your clients all the time.
Love it.
I love that. That's wonderful advice. So, if people wanted more advice, so they just want to be connected with like a really cool guy, right?
Yeah, I
How do
appreciate that.
how do they get in touch with you?
So 8675309. No, I'm just kidding. No, my
866. We knew we'd get some singing in here. I love it.
no, you can get a hold of me anytime. My email address is brett@realtordr.com. And the easiest and quickest way to get a hold of me is on WhatsApp. We use WhatsApp down here all the time because that's just how things go. And it's 849-353-4899. So it's +1 849-353-4899. And yeah, I'd love to hear from all of you. And there's no question that's a dumb question. So if anyone reaches out, please let me know. So
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. Well,
yeah.
we're super glad that you came on the show, and I've got a bunch of questions. We love being respectful of everybody's time, of course, but I got a bunch of questions that I can ask you on maybe part two of this episode, because I know that you got some cool things coming down the road, and we'll of course want to share that with everybody else as well. So thanks so much for coming on the show, and Matt, you too, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Ben. And see, I made it the whole way through without singing. Now I'm not going to recite that phone number that he just said because that might be a song. So that might come out. 85. Oh, never mind.
I'd like to thank you guys. This is great. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if there's questions and people want to hear more, just like you said, I'm always available to you guys.
Absolutely, guys. Links are in the description below. Don't forget to go check those out. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Matt, we bring on amazing guests, just like Brett, because Brokers Open Podcast is not just about open houses.
It's about open minds.